first we didn't even think this would go to the end of the school year. And it's like already the end of summer break. Going into the next school year, this is still happening.
Hello everyone, my name is Zeb Fulcher, and welcome back to A Teens to Toonies. This episode's going to be a little bit different, where I asked a few of my friends, as well as some other kids my age, about their experience with quarantine and what's going to be happening going back to school, as school's coming up or has already started for a lot of kids around the world.
My name is Chantel. I'm from Windsor. I'm going into grade 11.
I'm from Whitmore Lake, Michigan, and my name's Claire, and I'm in 3rd grade, but I'm going into 4th grade.
I'm Julia. I'm from Canada, and I'm going into grade 12.
My name's Levi. I'm living in California right now, but I'm originally from Idaho because I just moved to California, I think a month ago, and I'm going to be going into sophomore year of high school.
My family's in the Air Force. We are currently living in O'Fallon, Illinois. My name is Mitchell Jackway. Currently I'm going into sophomore year in high school.
I'm from Austin, Texas. My name is Ryen Ferris, and I'm going into 11th grade.
My name is Brody. I'm from Austin, Texas, and I'm going to 6th grade this year.
My name is Skye. I'm from Austin, Texas, and I'm going into 9th grade this year.
A lot has been cut from this because I just couldn't fit 2 hours into an episode. So if you want to hear all the other kids, the full interviews, you can find them in the description below in our Anchor site. You can find all different pages. We have Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, and a ton of other more places. So if you want to check it out, go into the description below. And before this video starts, make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoy the video. And I guess let's get started. What have you been doing to keep busy?
I've been doing a lot of drawing, and I've been doing a little bit of writing for stories I have planned, and talking a lot with people online.
Mostly just working on edits and stuff, trying to practice drawing. I've been able to hang out with friends sometimes, but mostly just bored a lot.
I've mostly been drawing. I've been working on a story with some characters, and just generally working on creative stuff.
I have been basically just trying to keep myself engaged. I've been reading, drawing, playing video games, watching a lot of TV, helping. I definitely noticed I'm helping my parents out with chores a lot more. Trying to keep busy, basically.
Have you found the time to be hard to fill? Are you getting bored?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I don't really have that many games on my computer, but the ones that I do have, they're very, very replayable because they're online. Yeah, the way League of Legends works, it's there's a ranking system where it goes bronze, silver, gold, and so on and so forth. But you kind of try to rank up, and it's not one of those single player games where there's a start and there's an end. It's you can play it for as long as you want, and it's basically it's a very competitive scene, which is a lot of people take it very seriously, even when you're not really supposed to. But I've been playing that a lot. So it's sometimes we'll get bored of it or just really, really angry. So I'll have to try and take a break and find something else to do. So that's when it can get hard. But other than that, it's not really that bad.
I've been able to keep myself busy.
Yeah, time has been pretty hard to fill, and I have been getting pretty bored lately.
I wouldn't say it's hard to fill. I have a lot of things to do, but it's definitely getting repetitive. Definitely.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah. Are you getting bored a lot? Yeah. How do you feel overall?
I mean, bored, but also worried, unsure, I guess, because there's so many things that like we don't know about. I mean, at first we didn't even think this would go to the end of the school year, and it's like already the end of summer break, going into the next school year. This is still happening, so it's concerning what like even grade 12 is going to look like, graduation, school after that. So I think we're all just really unsure right now.
I'm feeling alright. We haven't been very hit by anything, so it's not too terrible. We're just staying inside a lot more often than we would.
I'm okay with it because I got to spend more time with my family.
I'm pretty good. Yeah, there are certain times where I can get a little bit overwhelmed and just kind of like have to take a step back and reevaluate. But overall, I'm doing pretty good.
Are you going back to school physically, or are you doing virtual learning?
For my specific school, they're offering a full remote learning, which is what I'm doing. But for the people who do choose to do in-person learning, they're like splitting them up into groups. They're taking very good precautionary measures, and I do appreciate that. But for me personally, I feel like I can't take that risk, as my sister, she is currently a cancer patient, and she's going through that at the moment. So if she were to get COVID, it would be very bad.
I see. So, how long has your sister had cancer for? And
she has had cancer for about a year. She got it about a quarter of the way through my freshman year, and we've been dealing with that. And then the pandemic came, and now it's just been even more difficult. So we have to be extra cautious.
I'm going to go back to school virtually, or until COVID stops, and then I'm gonna go physically.
I think the school website said we were gonna do like a back and forth thing, and like I don't really have a choice. I'm just gonna listen to whatever they tell me to do, because online schooling went really badly for me. I couldn't get motivated to do anything at all. So maybe if I go back in the building, I'll like get some stuff done.
Did you miss school?
Yeah.
I didn't miss it at first because, I get a bunch of time off of school. That's great. But after a lot more time passed, especially after those, like March break was done and we were still out of school, it really started setting in all the things that I actually missed from going to school every day and having that kind of schedule. I started missing that more as time went on.
No, not particularly. Mostly because last year I did online school just because I wasn't really like too comfortable with doing like in person. Just because like for me personally, I've never really been able to like sit still in a class, and my aunt, who's I think she's a history teacher and like psychology teacher, she says that she's like 100% certain that I have ADHD. So I think I haven't been diagnosed, so like obviously I don't want to like go around telling people that I have it just yet. But I think there's a very good chance that I do. So I think it might stem from that like, I have a hard time sitting still, a hard time like, focusing on stuff. I mean, like if I find something like interesting, if I'm like, into it, then I can focus super easy. But like most of the time I'm not interested in it, so I just kind of like space off, don't pay attention. So that was actually the main reason that I didn't go to public school.
Yeah, because I really like being able to interact with my teachers and get help like in person with them on work.
Do you have concerns about going back to school?
Kinda. Like, I want to stay safe. So, yeah, kinda.
Yeah, I'd say I do. As we've seen with some cases in the schools that have already opened up, there have been like one kid has COVID and then the entire school has to quarantine. So I mean, I know they say that I don't personally think it's worth it. I mean, especially because of the risk. I know some people say like, oh well, it is unlikely that you'll you could die from COVID, but as we've seen, a lot of people have died. I just think it's an unnecessary risk to everyone's health. I think we should just be cautious and go with remote, but that's just my personal opinion.
It really depends on where it is. So if it's like, back where I live, where it's like Idaho, and like it's really not that big of a place, because especially where I lived, it was very rural, and there was, I think, like maybe 6,000, 7,000 people in the town. So there really wasn't that many people, and I think overall there was like one case in like a close by county where I lived. So I feel like generally it wouldn't be like a bad thing if they went back to school physically. I would just say to keep take precautions, not necessarily mandatory masks would probably be a good idea, but like I might get hard wearing it every single day for an extended period of time. So maybe not necessarily like mandatory, but very, very heavily encouraged. Like, washing your hands a lot, stuff like that. So I think it very much so depends on the place where the people are living and like where they're going to school.
What has your school done to stop the spread of coronavirus?
Yeah, they've been using Zoom, and we've been taking classes there.
And do you know what they've done to those students that are going physically to stop the spread?
They've been wearing their masks and social distancing.
Yes, my old school at middle school, so they're like, people still have stuff in their lockers because we left on spring break and never came back. And so they've been asking what your locker number and combination is, and then they'll put the stuff from your locker into a bag and give it to you outside of the school so no one goes inside. And we've been doing a lot of Zoom and Microsoft Word stuff.
I have no idea. I don't follow up with these kinds of things. I think they're gonna do a kind of like 1 week in, 1 week out kind of thing, which is like, it's better than nothing. I don't know how well it's gonna work.
What have you missed the most from regular life?
Probably like seeing my friends every day, and even just basic things like doing work and stuff. I felt pretty useless just kind of sitting around all day.
I think it's shopping and being with friends.
What do you think you're going to miss the most going back to normal?
Probably being able to sleep in, stay up late. Probably later than I should. But yeah, like, just the freedom of being able to kind of do whatever I want.
Probably just the amount of free time I have. It's a blessing and also a curse at times, just like having all this time to do whatever you want, because I've been sleeping until like 10 most days, which isn't a bad thing, but it just kind of, sometimes the time just gets by you. But it's definitely been cool to be able to just do whatever.
Oh my god, all of the free time I'm getting, I'm really enjoying this, and once I get back to school, it's, back to jail, so.
Have your parents been working the whole time?
Yeah, my parents, they are both able to work from home. My father is a computer technician, and my mother is a attorney. She's an environmental attorney. So they've been able to work from home using their computers. But they've run into some difficulties just in general, like getting it to like flow, the work flow, just trying to stay focused and stuff like that.
My Nana works from home. She's a service, like a call service thing. And my mother works from home. She's a writer.
Thankfully, they have been able to go to work this whole time because they're considered essential workers. They work with travel insurance. They're consultants for that. And so because of that, they're able to keep their jobs because they help people with like really important things. But of course, since it's still travel, unless people are traveling, there's always a risk, because if less and less people are traveling, what's the purpose of it anymore? But for now, they've been good.
Have you been watching the news more or reading more news articles?
I don't really watch the news, but my grandma does a lot.
I see.
I haven't been reading any news articles, but I've been watching the news more. Yes, I have been watching a lot more news-related stuff and reading more news-related stuff.
How do you feel your state, province, government has done to combat the virus?
I feel like Idaho's actually done a fairly good job, seeing as there aren't very many cases in there. California, obviously, with the amount of cases they have, that might just be stupidity from people, but also it's probably to do something with the government. But I'm not too well informed on it, just because, like I said, I don't really keep up with it. I feel like overall, as far as the United States, I feel like they've been doing a pretty poor job of trying to keep the virus in check, seeing as the United States is, from what I've heard, the number one place in the world where they have coronavirus. So I would feel like probably they aren't doing a very good job, especially since, like, other countries like Europe and stuff like that have been able to keep it under control.
I think they've done a good job in education. If you look up COVID-19 Ontario, the first thing that comes up is, what to do in case you get sick, or how to avoid getting it, or, preventative measures. I think they're doing good on that front. I don't know enough about, like, how they're physically stopping the virus, or the acts they're actually taking to prevent it.
I think they're not doing a very great job combating the virus. Like, in New Zealand, they've completely beat the virus. They haven't had a new case in over, like, a couple months. Whereas we're we're breaking records of cases every day. And there's not really any reason for it, because if we had taken it seriously, we could be like the rest of the world, where they're, like, going back to normal life already.
How do you feel they're doing compared to the rest of the world?
I would definitely say we have not done. I think we've done a poor job in comparison, well, overall, but also definitely in comparison to those other countries who immediately started getting on top of everyone and, figuring out where the cases were and tracing back and immediately quarantining. They were much more proactive, while our government took a lot of time to figure out what they're doing, and then they didn't really do it. And it's just we've definitely done a pretty poor job.
Still, I think we've done pretty good. I mean, I know in the States, there have been some people even theorizing that this whole thing is fake. So I think we're doing pretty good over here.
I think they would have done pretty good, but not really good.
Have you become more politically aware or in tune to decisions being made locally, nationally, or internationally?
Well, yeah, really, I have, because since I've been doing a lot more, like, watching the news, I'm definitely a lot more politically aware.
Yeah, I don't think so, yeah. Yeah, no, it just doesn't really interest me too much. I'd rather kind of focus on other things.
No, not really.
Do you think we're doing enough now? Not enough? Over enough?
I think we're doing enough. I definitely think that there's a little bit more that we could be doing. Some people seem to be upset that schools are reopening. I don't see that as much of a problem as long as people are following the guidelines. Although I do know that schools are saying that there's no way that they can enforce masks, and that makes me think that people may just not want to follow the rules. But so there's definitely some things that we could be doing to ensure everyone's safety in that way. But no, I think we're doing enough.
This is a hard one to answer for me. I'm not entirely sure what we've been doing.
I'd say my state is doing enough. I wouldn't say they're doing over enough. I'd say they're doing just enough because, like I said, my state seems to be doing all right. I honestly, my county is going up in cases, as I've said before, but I think my state has done a good job. I think they've done an okay job.
What is your opinion on masks and personal protective equipment?
I think, like, I'll see, like, people, like, anti-maskers who are like, oh, the masks don't work because, like, it just goes straight through it. Well, no, masks do work because, from what I'm just going based off of my memory from what I've seen a while ago, but I think the coronavirus airborne particles, or whatever you call them, are bigger than the holes in the mask. So the mask indeed, like, does do a good job of, like, keeping the coronavirus out of your, like, breathing system.
I think masks are very useful, and I think we should continue to wear them after the pandemic, just because they're, like, even if you get sick from, like, a flu or something, you can make sure that nobody else gets that, which is why masks are so useful. And I think we should just continue to wear them, because they do so in, like, Asian countries, and I think it's a practice we should adopt.
Yeah, they've been working really good. I mean, as long as you social distance and wear a mask, you're not going to get COVID.
Do you know anyone who has been directly affected by COVID-19?
No. Well, I don't believe so. Before it was officially declared a pandemic, when the first cases were coming in, my great aunt, they said that she got double pneumonia and she passed away, and her son and her husband both contracted the same pneumonia but were able to survive. And I'm not sure if that was COVID, but I think that may have been COVID. I honestly don't know. But other than that, I don't think anyone I know has directly gotten COVID.
Yes, my best friend Lizzie, her mother was a teacher before COVID, and now that her mom can't go into work, she's been doing a lot harder on, like, pay and stuff, on, like, paying for food and helping their family with stuff.
I see. And do you know anyone that's gotten a family member or a friend of a friend that has gotten coronavirus?
No.
No.
No? Do you think your mom knows anyone?
I don't know.
No. Did you hear about the situation in Dallas, Georgia, where the students got suspended for filming crowded hallways with maskless students? What's your opinion on the situation?
Well, I definitely think no matter the context, you shouldn't just be filming people without their permission, really, especially because they're just kids trying to go about their day. But I definitely think that if it got to the point where students needed to record this stuff for proof that people aren't following the guidelines just for their school to do something about it, that the school should have done something sooner, should have been actually reprimanding students for not wearing masks, or just telling them to go home and, do the online schooling if they're not going to do that. Because there are kids who have compromised immune systems, there are kids who could, even though they're young, still die from it. I mean, everyone can, but with some kids, it's a lot more likely. So it's really important, and I think if it got to that point, the school should have just done something already.
I've heard a little bit about it, and I think it's scary because the fact that they're trying to cover this up when people are trying to get the word out about unsafe conditions, it's not good.
Yeah, I believe I think I heard of that. It was just kind of brief when I was, like, browsing on Reddit, but I think I saw, like, the picture of, like, that big school, like, in Georgia where they just, like, huge crowded hallway, and there was like, nobody wearing a mask, which I think, because Georgia is a very big hotspot, the virus, I think, right? Yeah. So, especially given that, I think that's just really, really stupid of the school to let people go to the school, and since they are letting them go to the school, the children or the people going there as well, they're not like taking precautions like wearing masks. As far as the people getting suspended, I think that's just completely like wrong. Like, I'd see no reason why they would have to be suspended. Yeah, it just doesn't really seem like a very fair thing, but it's probably better for them since they aren't going to be exposed for it, honestly.
What will you do to help stop the spread at home, at school?
Well, again, the regular hand washing thing. I mean, I don't know why it's such a big thing. Everyone should already be washing their hands, but just things like that, making precautions. And wearing my mask at school, especially since it's mandatory, but also just to keep others safe. Things like that I'll be doing to help stopping the spread.
I think you should wear masks and stay a safe distance and wash your hands.
I'm definitely, absolutely going to wear a mask. I'm going to limit contact with everyone I see.
Well, my parents and I, whenever we go to a store or a public place, where we always wear a mask. And whenever I'm around my peers, I haven't really been around my peers recently. I was in band camp, but they took very good restrictions. We were always 6 feet apart. We were always wearing a mask, and we had to have hand sanitizer. And I was always reminding everyone to keep their mask on and be safe. And I'll continue to remind my classmates that they should be safe. Obviously, I'm not going to be at school, but I'll try to keep up awareness about that this is a serious thing that we can't just ignore. It's not over yet, even though some people want it to be. And my parents will definitely continue to do all the precautions that they've been doing.
If I do go back physically, I'd hope that my school's implementing like what is it? There's a word for what I'm looking for, but anyways, it's like people come out of the period at different times to get to their next class, and it's like a rotating schedule where we have different lunches, because there's only 2 lunches at my school right now, but there could be more to make sure that there's more social distancing enforced during that, especially since we're not allowed into the academic halls while we're eating lunch, but we're allowed anywhere else on campus.
I would wear masks, but I don't think social distancing would really need much. I'd just wear masks.
I would be very cautious with making sure to wash my hands and don't do anything that can cause other people to give me COVID or give them COVID.
Thank you all for watching. Make sure you check out in the description below for all the full interviews, and make sure you also check out all the social medias for those I did interview, because they're pretty cool people. Alright, see you guys in the next episode.